Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel. In this video today, guys, I'm going to be explaining to you why you're looking at goalkeepers completely the wrong way. For the most part, goalkeepers are mainly looked upon as a hindrance. You know, they're so expensive. They are really the gatekeepers to what gets you into competitions and gets you being competitive. And, you know, that's the first thing almost everyone comes to when they first start SORARE is, oh my God, look at the price of goalkeepers. And that guy's not even really world class. And that guy's not even that great. That guy's not even a definite number one. And, you know, the price, the pressure that puts on buying a goalkeeper is incredible when that's the angle that you're looking at it for. Is if it backfires, you know, what if they get injured? What if they get relegated? Maybe they get dropped. Maybe they get sold. Maybe the team that they play for go and buy a better goalkeeper to replace the one that they're on the now. And what then you end up getting drawn into is just buying the cheapest keeper that's available to you that fits your strategy, depending on region and age and profile, all that kind of thing. But that can end up being quite a limp signing. You know, if you've got a goalkeeper that is nigh on nowhere near as good as a top end common in this day and age, if we're thinking about the rare division, then are they really worth spending money on? Are they really worth having? Are they really a gatekeeper to you going on and doing better as a result of having them in your club? These are the things I think people just get way off the mark with, okay? So for me, when you come to goalkeepers, the very first thing you should be looking at is they are a gateway to prizes, okay? So for me, the goalkeeper is like the firing pin. It's the thing that gets your team from being out of the prizes with your common or with maybe your starter limited, you know, the first guy you've picked up, that kind of thing, into being in a position where you can realistically go down and chase the tier 3s and the tier 2s if you've maybe not got the outfield players that are really there. The second thing that, you know, I would want you to be getting drawn towards with goalkeepers, particularly ones that you're looking at that aren't current number ones, is that they are by far and away the easiest, the most time-tested method of building a wallet. You know, now I've not actually sold that many goalkeepers in my time on the platform because whenever I pick them up, like a Lung or an Oblak or, you know, some of my favorite ones, you guys will know them probably, I buy them for the deliberate purpose of them activating my outfield cards that I've collected, bought and traded for to get them into tournaments. But now, as more and more time has went on, I have really pushed myself to try and get into them for trading purposes. So buying goalkeepers is always expensive. It's always going to be expensive. By the virtue of football, there is only one per team and typically you get 3 per squad. And of those 3, only really one of them is going to collect on average 90+% of the appearances, especially in SO5 scored competition. It's probably much closer to 100 for the mean, you know, for the average out there. So picking up guys that are not number one the now, obviously doesn't help you SO5 wise, but if it's a good guy, you get, you know, you've done some background on, maybe they used to play for another team where they were number one, they've transferred somewhere under the promise that they'll become number one here and it's not quite happened and now they're unsettled and looking to move. Maybe they're an up and coming goalkeeper who's not been able to break into the team but is very likely to go out on loan. All of these situations, they are not going to help you in SO5 tomorrow, but I promise you they will help you in the marketplace in 9 months from now, 12 months from now. Now, no matter how you cut it with goalkeepers, they are by far and away the best way of stretching and really testing the endurance of your patience muscles, you know. And it's through trading, it's through buying, it's through holding goalkeepers is really where you really feel all the extremes of having to be patient with a football or with a card in your gallery in your club. Because a goalkeeper, like as soon as they're out the picture, like it is probably not just for a game week or two, you know, unless it's one of these rotation headaches that we've come to know on the platform, like Ospina and Merritt and Navas and Donnarumma, and there's a few other ones. It is season long that these guys participate for as a number one, as the designated first team, first choice guy. So whenever your guy does get dropped out or he does get bombed, then you really, you know, you come to a crossroads. Most people will panic because if you've bought the guy for immediate SO5, they're going to have to sell. And then there'll be some people who maybe they didn't need them that much or they're a bit more patient. They have other options of alternatives. They can just sit on them. When that does happen, it does open an opportunity up. And if you can find people trying to crash out of a card because for the next 6 months he's a write-off until he can open up and get a transfer or until he can get a loan, that can be a great time to come into a goalkeeper that you know when you spend the ETH, when you spend your money on them and you buy the card, you are really spending, you've spent 6 months. Like that guy is not going to be any use to you, you know that, but it will come back to pay off. But it's not an exact science. You can't exactly say, oh, well, when this happens to the goalkeeper, you should always hold them or you should should always sell them. It will depend on exactly their importance to you and your club. But even if you're having a guy that's bombed out, like I was talking about, that can be an opportunity to get in on somebody. But if that does happen to you, you need to know that guy is fundamental to me playing Champion Euro. That guy is fundamental to me chasing down E thresholds, whatever it is. And if he no longer does that job for you in the immediate term, the question quite simply becomes, can I wait and I have something else that can cover me, or I can trade an extra forward I've got, or that midfielder that's just popped, maybe I sell him, bank some money, get another goalkeeper. You have those kind of options, or you have the dad burn the guy. I just take 10-20% off the market, drop him on the now, hope somebody bites before the rest of the market comes beneath me. That's a gamble you've got to run with, But when you're picking up guys deliberately to be patient, you shouldn't be putting yourself into a situation where that is a question you need to bring to your door. If you're deliberately buying a guy, and I'll just look at mine again because it's easy enough to do. When I look at the rares I've got, like a Benjamin Van Leer, Jesse Mulan, Ivor Pandur, you see at the top of the screen there, even Ethan Horvath, Katarski, Koopmans, Svilar, all these guys, when I pick them up, I know they're not going to be playing for me tomorrow. If it's somebody like Cisniga who was playing and then gets dropped, I then have to, like I said earlier on, just kind of weigh up who else do I have in that region, who else can cover for him. I have no one, I need to go get somebody, or I've got plenty, cool, do I maybe sell him and try and cut my losses on him, or do I hold in tight and wait for his day to come back in the sun. But as you can see with the amount of goalkeepers I've got here, even at rare level, I cannot, even if all these guys were playing, I cannot enter every single one of them. And as you'll see, a few of them do come up in repeats, like Horvath and Baraza and whatever. Some of that's down to like just having guys for training as much as anything else. And some of it is, well, if he does pop, like Horvath is one of the few ones I've got left from that time when I started stocking up on goalkeepers for trading. Then I've got two. So if he really does pop and he becomes that amazing, then I can hang on to one and sell one into the market kind of idea. But those patience plays with goalkeepers, like I said with point 2, it's the easiest way to build a wallet. Now, when it comes to them being a gateway, okay, now, when you're going to go and pick up a goalkeeper, like a good goalkeeper, one that's going to actually be useful, one that's actually going to help you out in SO5, are you ready for him yet? Do you have a team? Do you have forwards, midfielders, defenders in varying qualities and quantities that when that keeper goes in, it is an instant transmission onto your SO5 results? If it's not, then I would say patience is on your side, particularly with rare goalkeepers, because with the commons and with the ability for you to now win commons every game week and the potential for you to then pull an Allison or an Neuer or one of these guys at a common level are OP and very useful to have. If you've got one of those guys in particular, I've got a Pau Lopez common that I would even put in this category to a slight extent as well, just a proven number one top end champion keeper kind of guy, then you really don't want to be spending that money on the goalkeeper unless it's a great opportunity until you actually need them, until like as soon as you buy them from game week 1, you can slot them in. You've got the defence ready, you've got 2 or 3 guys that are capable of 60 pluses, you've got a midfield dynamo that's hot on form and a decent wee understudy, you've got a couple of forwards knocking about, they've got good fixtures, can maybe get a goal this week, whatever. Because what I've personally done over the last 6 months is by selling some of these goalkeepers that would have been useful to me to use, like Odysseus for example, or even Garbage, is it reduces the amount of lineups I can do. So even though it looks like I've got a lot of goalkeepers here, then I do. When the regions go off, I lose a couple of Asian guys, I lose a couple of American guys, and I really do lose a bit of my flexibility. Same with the super rares, these are all non-EU regions and whatever. But if I feel like I've got good players and they're bringing in good scores, but I'm not really getting them together, maybe I've got one team too many. And do you know the best way to force yourself to play one team less? Is to sell a goalkeeper. Do you know the great thing about selling a goalkeeper is you tend to get a lot of money for it. So maybe you've got one goalkeeper too many. Maybe it can be a great way for you to release some capital, to get back into the wallet, maybe strengthen that midfield, maybe go and get that super rare forward, maybe go and get that limited defender that's an absolute beast that will just help move your limiteds up a level. With goalkeepers, whenever I do that, because I will be losing the training facility by having a goalkeeper loss, if I'm losing a training team and I know the numbers in my head with my squad and my gallery and roughly how many training teams I should have for the outfield players I have available, then if I was to sell a guy for a massive profit, for example, like a goalkeeper, or even just any profit, I would always look to try and get a cheap understudy, like a little replacement guy, like a Van Leer, in terms of his ETH price, or a Lanzillotta, somebody who's very nominally priced for a goalkeeper that can go in and just replace that training position that the other guy is just basically taken away, because you need to get, you know, the great thing about having a lot of goalkeepers like this is you can do training squads for all your key players, you know, and like I said, it is a gateway to winning prizes, and that comes back into training as well. You need to have enough goalkeepers to facilitate your key cards getting trained at every key opportunity. And I think my limited goalkeepers really paint the picture quite well. You know, when limiteds first came out, the very first thing I wanted to do was go and get a few U23 keepers, and then get 2 guys that were O23 that were rock solid and I could kind of rely on. Bravo, I know, was old, but he's a Man City legend in air quotes. I know he's not really, but you get the point. So he kind of, you know, got into the club through hook or by crook. And then after that, I've just been up and I've been buying rookies. I've been buying backups. Fry's a different region, a different territory, you know, rookie. And then Lung and Galashi I've brought in to firm up the utility. Guys that will play, do play, I can rely on. And then another rookie and another backup. That is a great kind of makeup of different shapes and sizes. Now, Maximenko, he's had egg on his face this season, so he's the bad example. He's the one that didn't pay off. Bravo is the pain in the ass. I cannot predict whether he's going to start or not. Safanov doesn't have the best fixtures because he's in the Russian league and they just don't play as often as like the Turkish league, for example, like Lung does, who I've brought in. But again, Lung's not U23, so Safanov and Maximenko, my U23s, are a wee bit hamstrung now, so I currently have a need for another U23 keeper that covers the gaps of the Russian league, if that makes sense. But again, otherwise, you know, they're quite deliberate. They're either solid guys that will play, and maybe I could sell a SORARE for some profit. Maybe I could sell a Safanov for some profit if I so desired. But then it's just about me getting other guys. I can just buy them, lock them away. Maybe one day they come good, maybe they don't. But at least in the meantime, the very least, the very absolute least, with even these rookie guys, is I'm getting some training out of them. They're adding into the club by helping my super rares, by helping my rares, by helping my really good cards, getting into training every game week and make the difference for me on the SO5 pitch. Now, similarly to that, what you can actually do are, this is something that I've done once or twice, but the last time it was on the cards, I bottled it and I didn't do it. So I thought I would share that with you in a hope that you don't, and maybe you execute a trade that you know is in the best will for you, sort of thing. So, as you guys will be aware, I'm a big CFG, big Man City fan, New York City hoodie on today and everything, you know. So a few months ago, kind of autumn time or whatever, as you guys will know, I was hunting down Turkish goalkeepers like mad, and Arajan at Muric, Kosovo #1, on loan there from Man City, has a card from when he was in Holland, even though, you know, this is before the Turkish league came out, and he was hovering around the quarter of a coin, the 0.2 mark. See, this one at 0.16, that's the one that got away from me, really, because after that I was trying to get him below 0.2, and as you can see, I just waited a little bit too long. Now, that's one story, right? What was going on in the background, okay, is absolutely out of nowhere, Marcus Schubert went to Vitesse on loan, became the #1 goalkeeper, is a hot prospect U23 keeper, and he at the same time is popping off above half a coin. I brought myself to the thought process of sell Schubert, bank half the money, have a Muric, and if Muric plays and comes good, then fantastic, and if not, I've got a U23 keeper. But the reason Muric was that price is he had just been dropped, so what I was staring in the face of is Muric is going to be on this loan till, let's say, January, being dropped, and if he's not going to get back in the team, then he'll be sent out and reassigned somewhere else, similar to what's happened to Taylor Harwood-Bellis, going from Anderlecht to Stoke, you know, in terms of his loan destination. And I just wasn't really ready to do that. With Van der Voort being my only other U23 keeper and Tanny going away, I really thought, you know what, Schubert cost me like 18 quid or something. Let's just hang on to him. Let's just get that utility out of him for the rest of the season, and we'll worry about Muric another day. Schubert then gets dropped and his price subsequently drops, while Muric's price continues to go from strength to strength to strength, you know. So that kind of consolidate down move, if you can do that, if you can take a goalkeeper that's in the background, not doing very much, and one day they come good, they get the loan, they get the transfer, whatever, it gives you a great opportunity to maybe make some moves. And, you know, in my case, what I should have did was follow the strategy, went and got the City guy, banked the money, forgot about it. But otherwise, I got a wee bit, you know, podium greedy. I need to get playing every week. My cards are here. I cannot lose that goalkeeper for a Muric. I just couldn't get my head around it. Obviously, in the long term, that would have been an excellent play. And as I say, guys, I hope you can learn from it. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. About to come on screen now, some more stuff I made YouTube thinks you might like. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and retweet, and all that good stuff. And I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.